Hi everyone, how's it going? Today I'm going to talk about the 1984 science fiction film The Last Starfighter, which was released in July of that year. The film was directed by Nick Castle, written by Jonathan Bidwell. It starred Lance Guest, Catherine Mary Stewart, Robert Preston, Dan O'Herlihy. Many people, or many critics of the film, refer to it as a Spielberg pastiche, and I think that's an accurate way where The Last Starfighter is drawing upon so many other films of its time. We are really moving into peak 1980s pop culture here with the influence of video games on the film, the Spielberg Lucas aesthetic that we can see on this film as well. So it just has that, but also kind of a throwback to classic adventures as well, one might say. So just a little bit about the story, not to go into too much depth. So Alex is our protagonist. He lives in a trailer park in kind of a desert southwestern type area, it looks like. I know originally the film was going to be set in suburbia, but Castle decided that let's try a trailer park, and I think that worked, where it gives the film more of a folksier, more of a hard scrabble quality to it. So Alex wants to go to college, and he can't quite afford it. He's waiting on loans and things like that. He's kind of picked on by the other guys in the town. Once again, recalling Richard Donner's Superman, which I think is another big influence on this movie. Catherine Mary Stewart is sort of his girlfriend, but like I said, he is restless and wants to escape his town. We don't learn much about his family. He has a younger brother. They live with their mom. There's no father, so there's also kind of that Spielberg E.T. situation. Alex is almost like an older version of Elliot from E.T. Video games are also another part of the film, and Alex, there's the one arcade game at the trailer park, and he's really good at it, and one night he breaks a record, and everyone is gathered around watching him break the arcade record, and that's very charming. This is at the height of the arcade era. And like I can remember as a kid in the 80s going to malls and going to the video arcades, which were always fun. It seemed like by the 90s, arcades were starting to fade a little bit by that time, but really we're in that real sweet spot of the 80s where arcades are really everywhere. And Tron is also, I think, a big influence, and war games, like movies that have this video game aesthetic to it. And The Last Starfighter really feels like an Atari game. I mean, the influence is there, or Intellivision, or ColecoVision, or any of the other popular systems that were available at that time. So Alex breaks the record in the video arcade, and I always wonder if that actually happened in arcades, where somebody was like doing really well in the game, and everyone was gathered around watching. I'm sure it did, or is that just a movie cliche? But anyway, and I know the analogy the screenwriter talked about the video game being like the Excalibur of Arthur lifting the sword from the stone, and the idea is here this intergalactic, I guess you could say, alliance is recruiting space pilots, and these video games are put around throughout the galaxy to find very talented people, because there's a connection between the video game and how they have to fly the ships. And then Alex is picked up by Centauri, who is an alien, who played by Robert Preston, who picks him up and takes him on in his car, which becomes a spaceship, and they go to a space station, I assume a long ways away, a galaxy far, far away, and learns that they are fighting a war against evil forces. It's very good versus evil, and they need to recruit Alex to help them in the fight. He initially refuses. He doesn't want to take part in all this. He goes back to Earth, but then he sort of learns that these evil aliens could come and invade Earth as well. We get scenes with the bad guys as well, and they're cartoonishly mean. And so Alex decides to go back, and by that time, the good guys, their fleet has been decimated, and Alex is in fact the last Starfighter, who, along with his mentor, I guess here, Greg, of course, played by Daniel Hurley, is they have to go take on the entire armada, and that's where we get the big special effects sequence, which it's not necessarily like Star Wars. I always feel like Star Wars has a more tangible, tactile feel to it with its space battles. This used computer graphics and computers, so it has very much like a video game feel to it. It looks cool. I think it holds up, but it's unique in the way it imagined. I think space battle. So yeah, back at Earth, there's a copy of Alex, Beta Alex, which adds a comic touch to the film. Who is, I guess, an android made to be a duplicate for Alex, but that's played for some comedy, and there very much is this just, light touch, a wholesomeness, a folksiness running through The Last Starfighter that makes it charming. So. Yeah. I mean, I think its influence is, we've seen its influence in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. I think owe something to Last Starfighter, and Ready Player One, another book and the movie. I think pay their respects to the Last Starfighter as well. Also, I think the Star Wars aspect of it as well, where it's basically retelling Luke Skywalker's story, only it's very Americanized and things like that. So the ending also recalls Close Encounters. It has that Spielberg touch of gazing in awe at the sky with all the stars at night, and the meeting between the humans and the visitors. But Close Encounters goes for more of a transcendent ending, whereas, as I said, Last Starfighter, it's very modest, and that kind of makes it charming. It has this kind of, as they wave Alex goodbye and Catherine Mary Stewart, it just has this folksy feel to it. So yeah, Last Starfighter, I think it's if you're a fan of films of that era, science fiction of that era, it's a lot of fun. It's a very, it's a movie really for 9-10-year-olds is really, I think, the ideal demographic for Last Starfighter. And yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. Those are my thoughts on Last Starfighter. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.